Hello and welcome to Jamie's Motion Graphics, episode 46. Today we're making this. All of this has been made in After Effects and all of this has been made from scratch. If you want to know how, just keep watching and I will explain step by step how you can make it yourself. Okay, so here we are in After Effects. We are going to create a very quick effect. We're going to do that with our new composition here, 1280 720, 30 frames per second and 30 seconds long. 30 seconds is going to be a little bit too much, but yeah, we'll just cut it down. We're going to load in a photograph. This photograph represents a logo. So just scale it down to the size your logo would normally be. And that's your logo. So rename the composition to logo and be done with it. So next composition, we're going to make 3, in case you were wondering. This is our control, and our control controls the effect we're going to do. And to load it, basically, we're going to need some noise. I'm going to use fractal noise. You can use the others as well. The thing is, what we need out of this is we need a layer that has different shades of gray in this case. And well, we're going to make it white and then put fractal noise on it. That way it will become nice and, well, just random. That's the way we like it. So put the contrast up so that we have white in there and black. So yeah, don't put it too high, but you can put it fairly high. This is too high. You don't want too much white or black in there. You can also invert it, by the way, if you want to have a different effect, but yeah, for now it doesn't really matter. So just pick something and see if it works. You can always edit it later. That's why we do these compositions. And we are going to make a new composition. This one is going to be called Design. And this is where it's all going to happen. We put the logo in here, we put the control in here. The control is going to be hidden because, well, it's very ugly. And we're going to put the card dance, there it is, on the logo. So it doesn't have to be on the logo technically, but we're going to set it up as follows. Well, first of all, what it does is it takes this well, this layer, the logo layer in this case, because the back layer is set to logo, that's why it takes the logo layer. It splits it into a number of rows and columns. You can see here it's 9 by 12. We're going to up that a little bit by 25 by 50, something like that. And that means they're not squares. I don't like the squares because they're boring. And this makes it a little more interesting. In fact, you can make it like 70 to pull it out of whack even more, I guess. No, I don't know if that actually makes it worse, but yeah, whatever. I'm going to set it to something. The second layer, the gradient layer, that's the control layer we made. It's going to look at that and see, well, just shades of gray. But we're going to use those shades of gray in our, well, effect. So we're going to edit the Z position here. As you can see, you have X, Y, Z, position, rotation, and scale. Well, actually no Z scale, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. It doesn't change anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Z position and say we use intensity 1, so that's gradient layer 1, and then the intensity of it. You can also use the intensity of gradient layer 2, which is currently not loaded, but you can make a double effect basically. So the multiplier here will tell you how much it's going to change the Z position. Basically it takes the Z position, multiplies it by the control layer intensity in this case, and then multiplies it by the multiplier, and that is what we see here. So yeah, the bigger you make this, the further they will fly away, and that's yeah, that's actually quite decent. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. This is the entire effect. So what we now do is we take this multiplier and we set it to, well, let's say 150. I don't know, something really big. And that has 5 seconds, so we're going to go to 5 seconds. And we're going to set the multiplier to 0. And we now keyframed both of them. So I did hit the stopwatch there. And well, once you have that, what it looks like is like this. So it will come together and it will form your logo. So the thing is, of course, if we do it like this, then it's super duper boring. That's the only thing. So first of all, the entire back thing just comes towards us like a moron, and we don't like that. Like, we like the effect to kind of come out of nowhere and just start. So let's pull this back to 0. I don't know why it's all the way over there. So let's make it a little more interesting. But yeah, the general gist you should have now. We're going to add a camera here. I'm just going to pick the first one that I have, because I don't know what the difference is, and I don't care what the difference is. That's more important even. So first of all, we're going to keyframe the position and going to drag that to the 5-second mark. Because at 5 seconds, we want this view. So yeah, make sure you do that. Then we're going to, with the camera selected, we're going to go to Layer, Transform, Auto Orient, and turn that off. Because the auto orientation, wow, makes that this camera always looks at the point of interest, which is a random point in space at this point, because we are editing the entire layer there. And yeah, it's kind of weird, but we are also going to move the camera, so at some point it would turn around to look at the point of interest, which is a random point in space, as I said. So what we're going to do here is for the first point here, we're going to drag out the camera. Let's set this to camera 1 and set here this to the comp camera as well. So in the card dance you have camera system, and you obviously want that. So as you can see, we now see the, oh my god, I picked up the entire layer. Control Z that. Yeah, so what we can do is we can move the camera such that we will actually see, well, nothing, hopefully, if we can manage. So let's start at like 5,000. It's, oh my god, there are still things here. So yeah, just make it really big until hopefully there's nothing left. And it seems that I took my multiplier a little bit too big. I guess we can also scale down the multiplier, which would be fine too. But I'm not going to do that. That's boring. I'm just going to live with it and say, okay, this is apparently the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, now we have one dot on the screen, so we're almost there. There you go. So this is our begin position, and if we play it now, everything will flow from the behind the camera to the front. And hopefully it will be a little more interesting than this. And there's the rest. So yeah, we do need to pull it back quite a bit, because now everything forms in the last second, well, even less. So we have to pull it back to here and then drag this to the front. So now at least the movement starts just about here, and I don't know why it did that so badly. Hang on. What else is edited on this camera? Only the position. So why doesn't it get the same position then? I don't know. So yeah, let's drag it forward a little bit. I guess to about 7,000. Something like that. It doesn't really matter. Let's see what it looks like now. We can always edit it later. I guess I should do that. I should just time lapse edit the timing on the layer later. That is a way better solution than doing it like this. Yeah, so we're going to do that afterwards. So this would be fine. It now forms the thing, but it also starts at a black screen, which is kind of important. So we're going to fast forward this, and then slow this down, this last part, and then, well, the entire layer will form. So what else do we want? We want something more out of this effect, because currently we only used one of the things. So let's use the intensity on the X as well, and is this? Oh, this is rotation. Okay, never mind. I don't want rotation for now. We can use that later. I wanted the position for now. So the position is going to be also based on the intensity. You can base it on something else. It's no problem. You can do whatever you want. You can also make a second one, so the gradient layer 2, to make this into a completely different, well, animation thingy. Let's go over here so we can actually see what's going on, and put the X position to something like that. So yeah, let's make it not too big. Yeah, something like that would be nice. The Y position as well, also intensity, and just drag it out. Yeah, as you might notice now, well, you couldn't really see it in the previous one, but it only drags to one direction, so it will only drag them up on the right side and down on the left side. And so instead of spreading them out, it actually makes a line out of your thing, and it's kind of weird, to be honest. But hey, that's the way it is. You can also use the rotation, by the way. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, we are going to go to 5 seconds. Set these multipliers, and then hit U, drag both of them, so the X and the Y multiplier to 0, because these are our end results, and then set them to 0 and 0. So in the end, we still want our same logo thing. By the way, we're making this logo smaller than full screen, because if we change the camera and the multipliers, then they would normally fly off to one of the corners. And if it's full screen, that means that if you zoom in on it with your camera, you get cut off, yeah, well, squares and things like that. So it's better to not have a full screen logo unless you really specifically make it for it. So this all seems fine. There's still very little movement going on, so we might want to drag these multipliers forward a little bit so that there's a little more movement in the end zone here. Because currently, yeah, the end zone is kind of filled with nothingness. Actually, we can use this as well, I guess. I don't know what that looks like. No, that actually looks terrible. So that last one is going to have to stay, but here there's nothing on screen here until this last moment. And wow, one of them actually flies straight into the camera. There, that one. That is horrible. But yeah, if you can avoid it, obviously you should avoid it. I'm not going to bother right now because we're not nearly done. So we can still just add some like rotation or something, and screw it out that way. So yeah. So let's put some rotation in here with like a small multiplier. And obviously we're going to once again keyframe the multiplier, hit the U, and then drag it forward. Let's say to about here as well, and then set it to 0 in the end so that everything is fine again. And you can do that for the others as well. Yeah, what we now want is this effect to kind of yeah, have a little more finesse to it. So we're going to pull up all of our animated things. We're going to set all of them to easy ease, and that way we have a little smoother transition into our final thing. And actually the animation also starts a little bit earlier now, which is great, but it does mean that we have to drag these forward a little bit. So yeah, it seems that we start over here now, and yeah, that's fine. So now we have the animation a little bit bigger, which is great. and it just forms into something. We can also let it explode back out, of course, by just taking the why is this all the way over here? Hang on, where am I? I accidentally must have double clicked. So yeah, it appears that I kind of did something wrong here. So let's set the correct one to easy ease, and that way we have what we're supposed to have. It seems that we're kind of in a weird thing here, but it'll be fine. So anyway, yeah, it seems that the camera is moving away here and then towards it again. I don't know why, because that's not how I programmed it. So let's see what it actually looks like from a distance. Oh, there it is. Hello. So that's my camera. Let's see the position and just see what it actually does. Yeah, it does seem to overshoot. That's what it did. So it went backwards and then all the way backwards and then forwards again. I'm not sure why it doesn't move anymore in that last part. Okay, let's just make it like this then. Yeah, so this is the way it should have been. I really don't know where I messed up, but it's now fixed, and at least no harm done, hopefully. Except to the length of my video. So the way this now works is it creates the card effect and just plops everything into place, and that's all good. But let's make a new composition and finalize this one. So final design, and plop in our design. Make a nice background for it. So let's do a new solid, some kind of gray. Yeah, put it in the background, and so that the effect will come on top of it. I don't know where the effect is, but it's here somewhere. And you can of course make the background into generate 4-color gradients. So let's take a few gray colors here, mix them together into a nice background. I like this effect a lot. I use it a lot as well. Mostly for the grays and then turning it back later. So what we want out of this is we want something that focuses on the foreground, and to do that we're going to make it dark with a spotlight in the middle. So you can also use a radial ramp for this, but I think this has a little more, well, just coolness to it, because it's not symmetrical. So this actually looks good. Let's see if we can actually put a drop shadow on our effect or on our design, and put that to a nice distance so that it looks like there's really a background there, but it's forming in front of the background. You can set the softness to a little bit if you want to. If you wanted to look a little bit like further away. So this way, what we have is we have the effect coming in and then reforming. So let's see from current time. Let's see what it actually looks like. So currently, yeah, this is just loading in. We will see it at real speed in a moment. But yeah, you can see that it kind of forms the picture without moving in the end, which is kind of not what I intended to do, but this is at real speed. So we can see that again. There you go. So it's really quick, and that's fine. The only thing is we need to actually fix the fact that the camera doesn't seem to be moving anymore from like here on out. Even though everything comes from behind the camera, it seems that it's already in place here, and all it does is just slide further into place, which is not the way we want it. We want it to keep moving even later on. It seems that everything here is fixed, but maybe it has something to do with this. Can we actually change this? No, nothing happens in the front, but I think the Z position of the camera is just too big. That's why it appears that way. So yeah, here things are still flying in, so it's at least a little bit better. We can also just go to the control layer, and here we can see there's a lot of white on this side, and here there's a lot of, well, black. So here it will move more than here, and if we change that, then we can change the animation. So for example, we switch off the invert. Hey, my cat just jumped on the desk in case you were wondering. So now we have a different setup because the control layer is different, and because of that we get a completely different view of this effect. So everything that you change can or will affect what the outcome is. So and the way that works is very subtle. You can't really predict what's going to happen unless you have severe experience with it. But yeah, for now, just try to make something out of this that actually looks cool to you. And yeah, just try to experience or experiment with it a little bit. And once you have something that you like, just make sure that you just use that in your design. Okay, I'm going to keep it at this. I think the effect looks good enough for you to know what you should look for, and I think you can make something really pretty out of this. It's a great effect. It's a great way of kind of making your thing come together, and you can see now that it actually flies in from two directions. The camera movement is a little bit iffy, but yeah, overall I think it's a good effect, and you can definitely make something pretty out of it. And at least we fixed the problem now of the thing not moving in the end. It's definitely moving. It's just not moving in the way I wanted it to. But hey, we can fix that another time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.